Good evening and welcome to NTD UK News. I'm Neil Woodrow. Here are today's top stories. Beloved centenarian Captain Tom has died with COVID-19. He raised £33 million for the NHS last year. Door-to-door testing for the South African virus variant is starting in some regions in England. Residents are advised to stay at home. Food checks at 2 ports in Northern Ireland are suspended over staff safety concerns. Captain Tom Moore, a British World War II veteran who raised millions of pounds for health service workers, has died with COVID-19 aged 100. Captain Tom passed away in the morning at Bedford Hospital. He tested positive for COVID-19 on January 22nd and was fighting pneumonia. His family says he was not vaccinated against the virus due to the other medications he was taking. He inspired the lockdown Britain by walking around his garden with the help of a walking frame and successfully raised almost £33 million for health workers on the front line fighting COVID-19.
Always be optimistic. Whatever you're talking about, be optimistic because it's a good day. I mean, things will get better.
Raised in Yorkshire, Northern England, Captain Tom served in India, Burma and Sumatra during World War II. The UK begins door-to-door COVID-19 testing for 80,000 people in a bid to stem the spread of a South African variant of the virus. Some Brits say they are really concerned. NTD's Earl Rhodes has more.
Mass testing is starting after some cases of the variant were found in 8 areas of the country. Some regions in Bristol and Liverpool have been added to the list and will get the same testing. The local government in Reading, South London, is sending out kits to residents. The kits will be collected and then sent to a special lab.
We're bringing together each day around 100 volunteers and member of staff from a wide variety of organisations, from Woking Borough Council, the County Council, police, health, our fantastic volunteer organisations.
Residents will be tested even if they don't have any symptoms. Some residents say they're very concerned and have decided to stay at home as much as possible.
Well, yes, I think we all are very concerned and just have to keep safe. And, try to get out for a walk every day, otherwise you just cannot stop indoors all day, but just be very careful.
I don't go out or anything because, I'm of the age group and I do have a couple of things wrong with me, so I don't go out anywhere.
The UK is rolling out a mass vaccination programme, with over 9 million people having received the first shot. The government and health officials are concerned new variants will undermine its efforts to bring the pandemic under control.
There's currently no evidence to suggest this variant is any more severe, but we need to come down on it hard, and we will.
The Managing Director of Public Health England, Susan Hopkins, says the organisation expects all vaccines to be effective against the variant, especially in reducing hospitalisation. Earl Rhodes, NTD News.
As an extension of local pharmacies, white pop-up tents are dotted around Paris, allowing people to walk in for a COVID-19 test without an appointment. NTD's Joy Dogood tells us more about these tents.
More rapid antigen tests have allowed these tents to exist. Dr. Chieb supports the idea of the pop-up, saying they are helpful.
The tents were set up to avoid crowds of people inside the pharmacy doing tests and to avoid mixing with people who come in for their prescriptions.
One test taker says it's reliable and reassuring.
I think it's a good thing. It's very easy to go to. It's a great initiative by the government to be able to get tested so quickly and have a result in 5 minutes.
France's main COVID-19 indicators reached a 2-month average high on Monday, but the government is still hoping to avoid a third national lockdown. Joy Dogood, NTD News.
The British grocery market saw sales growth accelerate to 12.2% in the latest 12-week period. Industry data shows that reintroduced lockdown restrictions caused people to spend more on food and drinks. According to market researcher Kantar, in January alone, shoppers spent £1 billion more on supermarket food and drink items, compared with the same 4-week period last year. Kantar says UK grocery inflation was 1.3% over the 12 weeks. Prices are rising fastest in markets such as canned colas and skincare, while falling in vegetables, fresh beef, rice and noodles. Northern Ireland is temporarily suspending some food checks at 2 ports after a local council withdrew staff over safety concerns. The EU confirms it's withdrawing its staff too. Mid and East Antrim Borough Councils withdrew its staff assisting Northern Ireland's Department of Agriculture and UK Border Force. They say it's over an upsurge in sinister and menacing behaviour in recent weeks. The EU Commission says staff safety is a high priority.
We have asked them not to attend their duties today, and we will continue to monitor the situation and adapt accordingly.
Some pro-British unionists oppose the new trade barriers introduced between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK as part of the Brexit deal. Graffiti opposing the Irish sea border was painted in some areas in recent days. Police say they plan to increase patrols at ports. The Cheshire Cheese Company has been exporting its waxed mini barrels of cheeses to Europe for years, but now the EU have put hurdles in their way. Eddie Aitken has more.
CEO Simon Spurrell can't sell cheese gift boxes in the EU through his online shop because each consignment has to be accompanied by a health certificate signed off by a vet. Costing £180 per consignment, it makes his sales of £25 gift boxes unviable.
This is a big hit for us because we'd actually really put a lot of effort into last year to actually expanding into the EU market. We wanted a running start, really. We thought, well, right, let's put a load of effort.
He says they invested heavily, expecting a smooth transition as promised by the government. But now
we have no access any longer to the 446 million consumer market in the EU. However, there is no reciprocal arrangement in place at the moment, so the whole of the EU is free to ship into the UK with their cheese products, meat products, etc. and animal produce, whilst we can't.
Spurrell says they are considering their options, which include setting up a company in France or abandoning the EU completely and concentrating on the US and Canadian markets. Eddie Aitken, NTD News.
The House of Lords will vote on the Genocide Amendment to the Trade Bill. It gives the UK courts the right to decide if a nation is guilty of genocide and requires Parliament to debate how it will deal with any trade agreements with genocidal nations. The Executive Director of the Labour Campaign for Human Rights and the Deputy Chairman of the Conservative Party Human Rights Commission wrote a joint article in The Times this morning, urging members of Parliament to back it. They highlighted the Chinese regime's human rights abuses against the Uyghurs. But the government has recently said that genocide is not a matter for the courts. A similar amendment was rejected by the government in the Commons in a narrow vote. A Russian court weighs whether to jail Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny for up to 3.5 years in a case that has sparked nationwide protests and talk of new Western sanctions. Moscow's State Prison Authority accuses Navalny of parole violations and wants the court to convert a suspended sentence he had been serving in an embezzlement case. During the hearing, a number of cars with diplomatic license plates were seen parked near Moscow City Court building. Despite a massive show of police force, Navalny's supporters have protested nationwide for weeks.
Even such a high-profile person can be arrested in a live television broadcast without a reason. It means that people like you and I are known people. They can do whatever they want to us.
At least 237 people were detained outside the court. The Seine River at the heart of Paris has flooded due to recent heavy rains. Some nearby roads and underpasses are cut off and some riverside stairways closed. Marianne Leatham has the story.
A famous statue in the River Seine is submerged up to its ankles. According to the French Rivers Monitoring Service, water levels have reached over 4 metres compared to just under 3 metres last Friday. Retired teacher Michelle Glock spoke of the significance of the submerged statue.
The Pont de l'Alma statue is something particular for Parisians because as soon as its feet are submerged in water, that means the waters of the River Seine are rising, which usually happens in the autumn.
Because of many recent heavy downpours, Parisian Ilal Kanan says he was not surprised to see the Seine flooding.
We can't avoid this in 2021. It's a bit sad, but it's poetic, because nature is prevailing over man.
According to weather forecasts, More rain is coming, and with some areas already waterlogged, there may be more flooding. The river is expected to rise even higher. Marianne Neetham, NTD News.
An old building in Spain is converting into a community centre, but with no exterior windows, an architectural firm comes up with a vertical indoor garden, and it's the largest one in Europe. NTD's Eddie Aitken has more.
This huge vertical garden has 560 square metres of greenery hanging on the wall. Its designer says the need for more fresh air is now more acute during the pandemic.
We have noticed that the connection with nature is gone in our urban landscape.
A company specialised in vertical gardens made the metal and waterproof fabric structure, 32 metres wide and 17 metres tall. It holds the garden and its irrigation system.
Running through all those fabric pockets, there's a hidden irrigation system with sensors that regulate temperature, humidity and water input.
A new community centre will host workshops, reading clubs and art classes. Visitors can admire the garden through a glass structure, and a glass ceiling will provide sunlight.
What used to be a tobacco warehouse that had no public use whatsoever will now be a place where the citizens of Santander or any visitor can come and enjoy.
The garden has over 22,000 plants of 26 different species, all tropical and subtropical. Eddie Aitken, NTD News.
A 79-year-old grandmother in Russia goes ice skating every day. She goes on the ice to track down her cattle, and sometimes just for fun. Joy Duguid has the story.
This Russian grandmother has been ice skating in South Siberia's Lake Baikal her whole life. Now, at 79 years old, not much has changed.
Why do I like it? Because my heart longs for it, yes.
Marokadova lives on the shores of the lake with her cows and dogs. She says growing up it was natural for her to skate to school instead of wading through snow, and now she travels across the lake to track down her cattle.
I need them for various things. I need them to run errands and just for fun, to have a skate or to look for my cows. I can ice skate here and there, while walking through the snow is hard.
She's been wearing the same skates since she was a child. Marekadova's father made them for her with a saw and pieces of wood. She ties them tightly to her felt boots. Her first name in Russian means love. She says love is the key part of life for her.
I love life, nature and everything. I love people in the first place.
Joy Duguid, NTD News.
That's all for now. See you tomorrow.